Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi has expressed hope that the next U.S. administration under President-elect Donald Trump will work with Beijing to promote what he calls stable, healthy and sustainable ties. Mr. Trump recently blamed the COVID-19 pandemic for straining Washington's relations with Beijing. The incoming leader adding that he sees Chinese President Xi Jinping as a friend.
面对世界动荡冲突，中国将坚定做和平的力量。我们希望美国新政府做出正确抉择，同中方相向而行，排除干扰，跨越障碍，力争中美关系稳定、健康、可持续发展。
And Deborah Wong joins us live from Hong Kong. Deborah, Wang Yi speaking there, even as the US and China step up more sanctions against each other in a trade war that hasn't actually ended. What does this say about China's approach to Washington at this point as Donald Trump prepares to enter the White House?
So Wang Yi says that China's stance towards the U.S. hasn't changed. Essentially, he is saying that, China is still willing to work with the U.S. He talked about how cross-border economic work groups have worked well, and he also talked about how U.S. and China have collaborated on drug control programs. And he says that these two examples point that the countries can work well together. But, China isn't the only country that is positioning itself as a proponent of peace. In fact, Mr. Trump has called President Xi Jinping a friend, and he's also invited President Xi to attend his inauguration in January. However, analysts are saying that President Xi is unlikely to attend it. Mr. Trump has also said that U.S. and China can together solve all the problems in the world in his press conference to reporters. But, despite the conciliatory remarks, there appears to be conditions that both sides have raised. Wang Yi, in his same speech today, reminded the U.S. that Taiwan remains a red line, and he also urged U.S. officials not to interfere in what China sees as its domestic affairs. And he also says that China hopes that Mr. Trump will make the right choices and work with China in the right direction. Now, Mr. Trump, as we know, during his campaign and also after he got elected in the presidential elections, he has continued to slam the Chinese for being sort of performative in its crackdown on fentanyl, and also said that it's one of the reasons why he intends to raise tariffs on Chinese goods. Mr. Trump himself has also appointed several Chinese hardliners to key positions in his administration. So it does really remain to be seen how both sides can find a middle ground in the road ahead.
Of course, we'll be checking to see if there's any sustained significant change in ties between the world's top two superpowers. But relative to that, possible breakthrough certainly on a decades-long border issue that has festered between China and India. And we've got rare high-level talks on this dispute happening tomorrow. Can we expect to see anything tangible coming out of these high-level talks?
So according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry, we can expect to see movement on three things. Firstly, enhancing mutual trust through dialogue, handling differences properly, as well as stabilizing bilateral relations. Now, the meeting that's going to be happening tomorrow essentially will look at implementing a consensus reached by President Xi and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi back in October, where they agreed to disengage patrolling troops at a disputed Himalayan border. We can expect both sides to sort of thaw icy relations ever since, fatal clashes broke out between Chinese and Indian troops back in 2020. Since then, Chinese investments have faced intense scrutiny in India, and both countries have also expelled journalists of each side back in 2023. So there's a lot at stake going into this meeting on Wednesday, because it really goes beyond border relations. As we know, the incoming Trump administration will produce quite a lot of uncertainty. So China does need to repair and also build international alliances, have friendly faces in its corner in the road ahead. Back to you.
And thanks to Deborah Wong there reporting live from Hong Kong.